We're going to try making those chili lime cranberry muffins. I do not know how they're going to come out. They might taste like a salsa before we get done. But anyway, that's where we're working for. You're going to need 2/3 of a cup of pecans, and we're going to roast these in a 300-degree oven until you can smell them. They'll have like a buttery smell because pecans have more of an oil, so you'll actually smell it when they've been toasted. So set your oven at 300. Make sure you can put it into a baking dish or something that can go into the oven. My frying pans can go in the oven because they're metal all the way through, so I don't have to worry about it. And you're going to have to grease a regular muffin tin. All right, bake. If you have the heat higher than 300, you have a good chance of burning your pecans, and that's not what you want to do because then they'll have the burnt taste that will be carried through the whole thing. All right, so that can go ahead and heat up. Now, what got me with the idea was because I saw this in the store, and I said, oh, chili lime. Let's make muffins with it. So we're going to make these a little on the spicy side. So we're going to be adding some cayenne pepper with it as well. I'm also not using whole wheat this time because I'm unsure. I don't want to drown the flavor out. Hello, APEC. So we're going to be using all-purpose flour, but I will be adding wheat germ into it instead. Let me put this up. This is my shortening. Shoot a brick. All right, Danielle, I'm going to kill you now. That's it. Murder's going to be on Mother's mind. Oh, man. I'll take care of this later. Where the heck? I'll kill him. That's it. I'll get back to you in a bit. I don't believe him. I'm going to kill my son. That's a mother's frustrations with her family. Oh, God. I did not want that. They don't put these things up right. I'm going to kill them. Okay. We will get the dry ingredients together first. So we're going to, let me see how I'm going to ratio this out. I have to think about what I'm going to be doing here. Should I use? All right, let's see, a third. If I sit there and add, okay. I'm going to have to adjust this recipe. I'm taking a basic one and I'm trying to think of how I want to manipulate this to make sure that we get the heat and the sweetness of this recipe. So 1.5. I'm thinking I do that a lot. Now, I'll be teaching people how to cook. I'll be doing Cook With Me. Some people want to learn and walk through the steps because I don't tell you everything that I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So we're going to be doing maybe once a month, come cook with me or cook along. I haven't decided how I'm going to say it yet, and I'll give you guys plenty of time to get what you need together. I've seen people try to teach people how to cook on YouTube, and they say, oh, just do this and throw a little this and that in or use this. We're actually going to get down to where we're going to know why we do it and the steps that have to be done to get the effects that we're doing instead of just mimicking them and then say why they're not quite the way they're supposed to be. This way, when you learn the proper way and you understand what you're doing, you're going to be able to do it. No, I was on this morning, and good afternoon to everybody. All right, now let's see. What am I going to do with this? I have to think of what I'm going to do with this. I don't want to add that. All right, I'm going to add a third of a cup of wheat germ to this. All right, we got 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I know. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I'm having one of these days. Do you guys have one of these days? Today's going to be one of my days. My phone is going to act up, and this is going to act up. All right, so we're going to add a third of a wheat germ. It can be raw or toasted. That should work. I'm going to be thinking about this while I'm doing this. Don't forget you have the nuts in the oven, okay? Oh, you're having a live. Today's my day. Oh, good. I don't feel pregnant now. Everybody else is going to join me in one of those days, okay? We want 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. I don't want the dark one because I want to bring out the cayenne pepper in these things. And you're saying you want to bring the wada? Yeah, we're going to wada. Okay? So that's 1/4 cup. Okay. It's actually 4 tablespoons, as you must know. That's 1/4 cup. See, when you know these things, you can go back and forth. So, okay, let's see. We put a lot of sugar in this, we're going to have to compensate for this. Okay, so we'll compensate for it. All right, we need 1/4 cup of sugar. Wait till we get to the seasonings. I have 2. Okay. Now, we're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm going to be having to make baking powder. I don't know if I've shown you how to make baking powder, but when I go to make it, I will show you. Now, remember, I'm not using any baking sodas in mine because I make my own baking powder. I don't need baking soda anymore to cook with, at least in baking. So I do make my baking powder with baking soda. Now see, they put a retarder into the baking powder that you buy at the store so it doesn't activate when you add liquids to it. Now you know if you use baking soda, as soon as you add liquids, it starts foaming and coming up. This is why they put a retarder in it. So you're actually putting baking soda and baking powder, basically using baking soda and baking soda. Just as simple as that. All right, I have to think. All right, we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm still thinking about the seasonings. This is where we can make it or break it, and I want to make sure that we don't break this recipe that I'm formulating in my head. My son was looking at me, and while he was having coffee, he said, "What are you thinking of another recipe?" I said, "Mm-hmm." And he said, "Okay." All right, on the cayenne, we're going to be adding heat to these muffins, so it's going to be sweet and hot. I'm thinking about adding 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Put 1/4. They're going to be spicy, okay? That's to go with the heat that's already there. So we want to bring the heat up some because there's a lot of sugar, so it's going to be sweet. All right, now, we want to kick to it, so we're going to add some ginger. 1/4, I guess 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. If this doesn't come out, don't worry, I'll let you know at the end. We're not going to know one way or another. I'm sorry. We're winging it this time. All right. If we put 2 teaspoons of cinnamon in here. 2 teaspoons. Okay. It's almost like a salsa, sweet salsa, the way we're going with the seasonings. And clove is strong, so maybe we should put a fourth in, you think? We're going to try making chili lime muffins with cranberries. Clove, so we'll put a half a teaspoon of allspice in. A half a teaspoon of this. But we'll put a fourth of a teaspoon of clove because clove has a stronger flavor, and that's what we're going to be working on. And I've got a mess in that refrigerator I have got to take care of when I'm done. So let's put a fourth of a teaspoon of this in, clove. Okay. We're going to mix this up. And the reason we're using these seasonings and all, you'll see when I add the next ingredient. You'll understand what I'm doing then. All right, so I'm going to mix all this up. It smells good. It should go. I have no recipe. This is coming out of my head. You're actually watching it come out as we're making this. I'm making it because I don't think anybody's making this with me right now. Okay, I found in the store, this is where I got this whole idea from, I found dried cranberries. But you know what's nice about these cranberries? They have chili and lime in them. That's why I'm going to go in this direction. And I'm going to take the whole package. This is a 6-ounce package, which is almost a cup. We're dumping it in. And by the way, I've tried these, and you can taste the lime and the heat in them. So this will be a nice combination. I said, well, if they're nice like this, they should be nice the other way as well. What's your off? What's your off? Oh yeah, you can taste the chili in these. Make sure you coat these so we can get them throughout the muffins and they don't sink to the bottom. So these are going to have a kick to them and a spice to them. Okay. We're going to have to check those nuts. We'll get another bowl for the liquid, and then we'll be chopping these nuts soon. Nuts are just about ready. Okay. Now, I have a frying pan that's in the oven. Never go on top of it like this to grab the handle because you will tilt it. Go underneath it and come up, and that way you won't spill it. Always remember that. Cancel. See, I held it like this to make sure. I think it's 400. Now transfer your oven to 400. And start again. Okay, we're going to chop these up. You don't want them fine, you just want them chopped. Now the reason you hold your knife like this is, you see pinched toe, and then you wrap your hands around here. You have more control. If you put your finger here and you're chopping, by accident, you could end up cutting your finger. I've done it enough times, I should know, when I was learning. And you grab that handle, you'll burn yourself. Okay. Coat your nuts. What they do is just keep them suspended so they don't sink down to the bottom. Have you ever had a tea bread where everything's down at the bottom? That's exactly what happens. They're for the wholesome content. Go slow, honey. Go slow, as they say. Fumbling hands. Listen, I still have trouble doing some of it the way they want me to. I'm uncomfortable, and I still cut myself periodically. So as you can see, this is going to be loaded with a lot of food. Okay. Let's see. We got to get liquid. My sour cream. Okay. Now, we're going to need 2 eggs in another bowl. We're putting our liquids together. Don't say anything about my sour cream because it's bloody frozen. And they say this is the temperature you keep it at the refrigerator and nothing will freeze. That's my sour cream frozen. Okay. We're going to need a light oil. The one I'm using is safflower oil. It's very mild in flavor because we want to bring the heat and the spices through and we don't want to kill it. So 1/3 cup of oil. Please have enough, please, 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 please. Yes. Okay, sour cream, now I'm gonna have to do this. Okay. All right. I need 1/2 cup. Now, if you don't have sour cream, you can use buttermilk if you wish. It's defrosting slowly. I tell you. You sure you want this? Okay. They say 1/2 cup of yogurt, but you can use sour cream. It's of the same texture, you know. I guess you could use buttermilk if you want. I would have used my discard, but I'm playing with these seasonings today and flavors. I want to see how they're going to come out. And let's see if I can mash up my sour cream to get it to work. I'm wondering if I need more. Listen, you're not dealt a good or a bad hand in life. What it is you are actually dealing with people that you've had to deal with in the past and other things like that. It's called karma and reincarnation and the law of grace, you know. So nothing is haphazard. God makes sure everything follows through, though some people say, no, it's not so. It is so. Everything works out. It's just that seeing the big picture, when you see it that big, you sit there and say, oh, you know. Like, I know that simple sin that got us all in trouble at the beginning. Somebody should punch her lights out, Eve's. Has caused us, it has a ripple effect. It has rippled in ways that into the kingdoms, all the kingdoms and everything else. So you begin to see the full scope of what man has done. Okay, whatever. I hope that is enough sour cream. If it's not, I'll have to add more. Because like I said, mine's frozen. Okay, you need a fork when you do this. You cannot do this with a spoon, because if you overmix this, you're going to have flat muffins. And if you add too much liquid, they're going to be flat. You have to get this balance just right. This is why sometimes you see me thinking and wondering what I'm doing is I'm trying to balance this. And sometimes I don't get it, and other times I do. That's why you see me looking under and see if it's mixed, trying to get it mixed. So the last muffins I put in here, pull out, they're all mixed all the way down to the bottom. Okay. So as long as you don't mix them all the way, they will rise. You don't have... We all have our scars that we worry about. I had a father who told me he didn't want me, and he blamed me for my mother's and father's marriage, and he said if I wasn't born, his life would be better. So you're going to wear the scars probably for the rest of your life, but you learn to put them in perspective. That's how I did, learning about reincarnation and law of grace and forgiveness and everything else. I don't wish harm on my parents, but I never want to see them again. And that's hard. It's really hard. And sometimes I do cry. The hurt is still there, but I understand I must have said something in another life to them to have brought that kind of hurt that I carry inside of me. And that's karma. So I understand that. Now I'm going to stuff these. Let's see if I can hold this phone in one position so it doesn't fall. Hey, they do it, believe you me. So it was a payback of something that I'd done in the past in another life. And I had to pay the price for it to carry the hurt of whatever I said. So if you tell somebody I wouldn't date your fucking ass and you're so, you just think about the hurt you give them, that's going to be the hurt you're going to have to face up in another life from them, unless they forgive you. That's why, if you remember, Christ used to say, you have an argument with your neighbor or something, go and ask for forgiveness. Don't go to bed with an angry heart. He wasn't lying. I hope these come out good, because I've been thinking about it all week. So I accept it. Like my husband, I mean, he sat there in one life. I saw myself, I was a man. I am an ugly man. I can tell you. What you making, Grands? I am making some chili lime muffins. Though they're probably going to taste like a salsa with the sugar in it. I saw this. In one life, he came through as a woman. Brassy woman he was. And I was an ugly man. Boy, I can say it. I'm ugly as a man. Okay? You know, men have an honesty about them. Yeah, they do. But his big thing is that if I was a man, I'd do it my way. Don't you think God has a hand in that? He had to learn the hard way. He finally learned that God is the final word, if you like it or not. And as much as you try to defy him, he will get the last word, you know. And I looked at him. He said, no, I will do this. I said, that's not going to work, Tony. Yes, it is. Guess what? It didn't. I still loved him, and I watched him. And I have my struggles, too, in karma and you know, the law of grace and stuff. And when you learn all that, you just learn to say, you know what? I'm going to take it easy. I guess deal with it, understand why you go through it. You have to look at yourself, really look at yourself and say, what did I do to deserve this? Well, you can bet in another life you did do something to deserve that. And that's why you got what you got. You know? But if you look at the blessings that you've got, you can overlook that and say, okay, I can move on and I can be better. You learn to. If you're young and you're not an adult, you're going through it, so you're going to feel it. But you could be honest with your father, and you could tell him how you feel if you wish. You know? If he denies it, you can tell him how you feel. It doesn't hurt to tell the truth. If that's how you feel, it's a real feeling, and maybe he can help you through it. Hey, thank you. Okay, let's get these in, and they're probably going to cook about 20 minutes. And we're going to see if these things come out. If they don't, we're going to know. But right now, I've got to clean my fridge. All right, 20 minutes. That's 59. That's on the hour. All right, let me clean this mess up that I just made. Yeah, you're seeing the mess that I made. All right. But that's how you make peace with it, though. You could bring it to your father's attention. It could be something that she's saying, too, because she doesn't want you. So you got to be careful. Balance it out. Talk with your father. You don't need her there. You need him. You need to talk to your father about how you feel. It's a real feeling. Because you didn't ask to be born. Believe you me. Your mother and father had the sex, and you came from it. But if you've been abused, realize that you have abused in another life, and you experience how they felt. This is the law of karma. The law of grace is you forgive and you move forward from it. Learn your lesson and move forward. That's how I live. That's the rules that I go by. Now see, my son and I are supposed to sit there and try making cheddar cheese popcorn. Now I dehydrated the cheese, and he is always so busy. I said, look, you said you wanted to try if we could do this, and you wanted to be part of it, so listen, we got to get your act together. But I think it'd be nice to try if I could do it. Everybody got quiet in a hurry. Yeah, I'm cleaning up the mess. I spilled orange juice in the refrigerator and all over the floor. It was frozen orange juice. Oh well, then you move forward from it. Let it go. Sometimes you have to walk away. I have not seen my parents since I was 21. All right? 21's the last time I saw them. They died. Never said a word to them. My mother, never saw her. When I walked away, I walked away. I had enough hurt that I wasn't going to deal with any more hurt. And I went forward from that. Did I have problems from it? Sure I did. There were many days I cried. But I just sat there and said, I have to move forward from this. God, it's in your hands. It's evident I've done something to my mother in another life and my father that they didn't want me. It's just as simple as that. That's why I move forward. So you just move forward. Walk away. Walk away for your health. You know, put it in perspective. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you, oh, it's a piece of cake, you just walk away. When you have your own self-worth again, that you know that you are a person that can be loved, and that you're worth something and you can help other people, then you've outgrown them. You've outgrown them. That's what you have to do, is outgrow them. Let's see if I put all this back in now that I've made a mess of everything. And you do not know how many tears I have cried. I even had to go see somebody to help me through it. And they said, you're strong. And I told them I don't feel strong because I was hurt. I was very hurt. But I moved forward. And that's what you have to do, move forward. I'm sorry I can't be stronger and say, oh, just do this and it'll be all right. No, I can't say that. But you move forward and put it in a perspective. Okay. Get the yeast out of that. Okay, I need this again. At least I missed the other drawers. My goodness. Where am I going to put this? Okay, I can look at you. Where have you been? I think what helped me let's say, I think reincarnation was the one that really helped me through it, because the person I saw was a Jesuit priest, and he helped me to understand that, you know, life is continuous. You don't have one life. Everything you experience or go through in this life is because of things that you have done to other people. If they were hurt and they carry that hurt, you have to live a life and carry the same kind of hurt. Now, if they forgive you, they move forward and they don't bother you. They forgive you for what you've done. Yes, I do. That's called reincarnation. The scarlet records of a soul. And that helped me a lot in the fact that I could sit there and say, all right, if reincarnation, then what my father said and what my mother did were paybacks of things that I've done. Like, I've been accused of things that I haven't done. And I said, I haven't done anything. I said, I'm in a state of being. I can't help you if you have a problem. Your husband looking at me because I am not encouraging it. I am just being myself. Why don't you try being a woman? You know? That's exactly what I tell women. If they sit there and say, you're trying to take my man, I said, nope. I am just being a woman. And it looks like you're not being a woman. Yeah. So you're seeing what you've done and you're feeling how they felt. It's a karmic cycle, yeah. But you can break it by forgiving them and say, okay, I understand the hurt that I'm going through. I understand that I did something to do this, but I'm going to forgive them for doing it to me, and I'm not going to do it to them ever again. And you go on with your life. If they feel like they still want to hurt you in another life, God won't allow them because you've learned your lesson and you've forgiven them. Because sometimes you end up with a soul that says, I don't want you to forgive me because I want to sit there and continue this vicious cycle. And you say, no, I wash my hands clean of it. That's it. And God will sit there and say, if you want to be vengeful, I'll find somebody for you to be vengeful who's just as vengeful as you until you finally learn your lesson to quit being vengeful. So I move forward. This is where it gives me a peace of mind of who I am and my life as I go forward. If that helps to bring understanding to you. The ARE, better, if you could find some Edgar Casey books, he would explain it a lot better. Yeah, but it's not a cycle, though. You can move forward from the cycle by the law of grace, by forgiveness. You get angry with people. I get angry with with some people, and I sit there. Look, there's this guy I don't like. He happens to be my girlfriend's boyfriend. She keeps on trying to deny it, but I caught her. I just listened to her long enough, and she spilled the beans. And I don't like him because the way he came at me, I didn't like it. He tried kissing me. He kept on saying, oh, you're coming to see me. I'm so thankful. I said, I'm not your friend. She's my girlfriend. Okay? She's my friend. I help her. And I don't like him. I won't talk to him. I ignore him. But I tell you, if I saw him in the street and he was hurt, I would call 911 for him. And you'd say, isn't that being a hypocrite? No. I don't have to tolerate him because he came at me and I didn't like him coming at me like that. I'm not his wife and I'm not his girlfriend. And I want nothing to do with him. But if he's hurt, because he is a human being, and we, in the spiritual world, we all are brothers and sisters, I have to acknowledge that he is life, and therefore I would do that for him. But would I throw myself in front of a gun and take a bullet for him? No. No, I won't break his leg because then it's karma, then he has the right to do it to me. No, I said if he's hurt in the street or something, I would call and get help for him. But he's not somebody I'd be overly fond of to wanting to help. But I, as a human being, and knowing that we're all from the same Father, I have to help. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to allow him to walk and think he can put his arms all over me. No, it doesn't go there. And that's how I feel. Like if I left my parents and I left my brothers, I left them all behind. I didn't speak with I've never spoken with my mother and father since I left. But I did speak with my older brother and my younger brother after 50 years. And as normal, my older brother thinks he's the big boss over me. Though I happen to be 73, he still thinks, boom, put the thumb down, little sis. And I said, no, I won't. And my little brother, all he keeps on saying is, Sandy, you got the looks in the family. I can't believe you look so good. And that was it. All right, we got 8 minutes, and we'll see if these muffins come out. Well, I'll have to sit 5 minutes before I can try them, though. And, but whatever karma I had with my parents, I left. They're both dead now. I shouldn't have left the way my father went, but it was so hilarious when it was told to me. I died laughing. And my brother said, "You shouldn't be laughing." I said, "James, you've got to think about how hilarious it is, because you know Daddy never waited for anybody." And I did. I laughed. He didn't like it, but I didn't care. I still laughed. I told my sons, and they started laughing. But sometimes you have to walk away from a family situation. Leave them. If you've paid your karma, you walk and let it go. But forgive them. Don't hold any grudges. Don't say I hate you, because that means you can go end up back in that circumstance and you doing it to them. Realize that they are souls just like you. They're just like, I am a soul living and dealing with the karma and laws of grace that I have. And I move forward. Look at them like that. When I see older people, older than me, there's very few now. Anyway, when I see them, I know they've lived a life, and I hope and pray that they have made right decisions so they can move forward. And this is how I look at people. Maybe it's wrong for me to see them, but I do always hope. And when I see people doing things that they shouldn't be doing that is wrong, I wonder what kind of karma that they've had. And people seem to think that that's a little weird, but that's how I perceive things and I look at them. Like sometimes people see somebody and you know them. You haven't met them, but you look at them and say, I know that person. You remind me of somebody. That's your recalling of remembering that soul in another life. I'm not an angel, but I am a soul. And so that's how I perceive it and make it work. The hurt and the tears, like my husband's gone, and I said, our sons need you now. They don't need me, Tony. They need you. I'm a woman. I cannot help them now at this point. You're not here to help them. But if you want to learn more about this, Edgar Casey is or the ARE, the Association for Research Enlightenment, will bring more into this. It talks about the SCART records and everything else. And that with my religion and Church of England and all rounds me out in this. And this is why I can be the way I am and look at the way I am. That's why I say what you're seeing is me in a body that's expressing myself. When the body dies, I'm still very much alive. It's only that the body's going back to Mother Earth. And so when people die, I miss them, the visual, but I know they're still very much alive. 4 more minutes, and we'll see how they're going. Any more questions? Or did I pretty much answer that to help you? If you can see it that way, it's a broad way. It's not a narrow way of looking at life. It's a much broader way of life, but it answers a lot of simple questions. I wouldn't get into a philosophical with somebody, because they'll take each little part of the Bible and says, well, what does it mean here? And what does it mean here? And they can tear it all up. I just generalize it, and I'm comfortable with it. You see, that's how I can look at my faith, because that's how I feel, and it answers the questions that I was looking for, and I got all my answers that I needed. I don't need to know exactly how creation was, or exactly how Christ died, or exactly the day he's coming. I know he's coming, and that's what I need to know. Melissa, I'm glad to hear that. But a lot of people, I think, misinterpret a lot. And if they could see it in a broader sense, like that, they could look and say, okay, yeah, that's the good answer to things. I'm waiting. They smell good, okay? I can tell you that much, they smell good. I told you, I did a lot of research and things like this. And it was hard for my parents. You be all you can be to your son. Don't worry about your father. Be all that you can for him and giving him all that love. Grandfather doesn't matter. Yeah. So a lot of people put God as material on Sunday. He's in here. This is where I meet him. And when I cry, I know he hears me. What am I cooking? We're trying chili lime muffins with cranberries and pecans, and we do not know how it's going to come out. We're experimenting. So these are muffins. So I think these cranberries would go excellent and replace them for the currants and chop them up and put them into scones. So I might, if they have another package, I might pick it up and then try making scones in a couple of weeks and see if they come out, because basically scones are so simple, there's not a lot of flavoring. So the flavor of the chili and the lime, the cranberry should come out in those scones. So we'll try that. Shane, you like that idea? Well, I don't even know if it's going to work, but that's what we're working on right now. One more minute. If we can take them out and see if they come out. Oh, there goes people again. See, my parents didn't even know my children. I wouldn't let them get closer. You're very welcome, Basket. Come on. We want to try these things. They're new. Clock's going to take forever to turn over. Hi, Julia. Julius? Look, I got my eye on the clock. I'm waiting for it to go one more minute so we can sit there and try these. And you're very welcome. I don't mind helping. All right, now we're going to take them out. Okay, here they are. We're going to find out in a few minutes how they taste. I have to let them set a bit for the flavor so we'll be able to get the real flavor out of them. So we just have to wait. Hi, Jay. So we're just going to be waiting. Okay, I need a flat knife. Now we have 5 minutes, nothing more I can do. Just taking your piece and that's true, Nina. It's not always important that you sit there and family. Sometimes you have to walk away from your family because they become detrimental to you, and that's not what you need. You need to grow forward. But don't leave them in anger. I was crying when I walked away from my parents. I didn't want to, but I had to. I really want to try these. They really smell good. And you can't smell them, but I can. And I'm not even hungry. I had lunch and I'm just not hungry. Okay. All right, here's the bottom of them. All right, so you can see that they're not burnt. Now I'm going to have to slowly pull this apart because they're still hot. When they're hot, you don't want to sit there and crush them because they'll go back to the dough state. Well, if nothing else, it came out nice. Okay, I'll show you the other half. It's right here. I told you how you move forward away from them. That's the only way you can do it, because if you stay around, they're just going to come at you. You can smell the cayenne. It does hit your nose. They're actually fruity. They actually are fruity with the heat. The heat is in the back of your throat, all right? You can taste the heat, but you have all that sweetness up in the front. You can taste the lime as soon as you bite into one of the cranberries, okay? So you're going to have the heat in the back of your throat, but you have all the sweetness in the front. And then when you sit there and bite into the cranberries, you get that lime burst hitting into your mouth. This is most interesting. I should write this recipe down. I will tell you, this is excellent. They are very, very good. This was a good idea. Oh, I can imagine this with coffee. The bacon and eggs, the sausage and eggs. Well worth it. Yes, I did. I took a basic, tore it apart, and put it back together. Hold on. Got cranberry stuck in my tooth. You're welcome. Oh. It's about the ginger, the sweetness, and the seasonings, and then the hot pepper at the end. Your mouth can go crazy on these. This is just how good these are. I hope some of you try this. If you do, please let me know. This is, I don't have a name for this. I think I'm going to just call them chili lime muffins. Okay? You can taste all the flavors. I can't believe it. The ginger hits you at the nose. Put it in your mouth, you get the sweet. And then in the back of your throat, you get the heat. So it's, and then when you bite into the cranberry, you hit that lime. Bam! When you least expect, it just hits your mouth. I have 2 sons. I'll finish this one with the rest of the people. Tomorrow's, I'm definitely having breakfast. Now my phone's falling. I gotta fix that too. Oh, they're in their 40s. I'm having ecstasies over these. These are delicious. No, there's some things that you make that really just tear your mouth up with flavor. This is one. I hope you try them. They're really good. Don't be afraid of putting the cayenne in. In about 6 weeks is my birthday. I already feel like I'm already 73, but I'll be there in about 6 weeks. So listen, you take care. If you make this, do not cut back on those seasonings and flavorings. That cayenne and the ginger are going to hit with the great flavor with your mouth. As soon as you bite into it, you're smelling it. It's going up your nose while you're biting into it. And when it gets in your mouth, you get all that sweetness in the back of your throat. You can feel it warm, but you don't feel it like burning your throat. Hi, David. In about 6 weeks. So listen, I'm going to let all of you go. I know you want to talk, but we have to go. I hope all of you take care. I can understand that. Listen, all of you take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. Stay warm. It's still cold. I mean, we were at 18 this morning. We're at 21 now. So heaven knows. But listen, I want you to take care. I really do. And I will see you tomorrow. What am I having tomorrow? I have no idea. By the way, chicken is very crunchy. If you saw it, it goes crunch, crunch. Even as long as it's sat and you eat it, it still goes crunch. Okay? So bye-bye.